Let's make it happen.
All righty, people of the internet. We're back! That's right, everybody. It is Thursday, so it's actually the day that we're normally supposed to be doing this thing. And this is time. And this is time for the main event, Chicago. This is your main man, Kevin Berger, coming to you from my room in my parents' house with, of course, my old school Raptors hat and my Air Canada VC jersey on. Joining me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, the incomparable, inconsequential, the one, the only, Shaquille SB Talk Sports. Barnes, Shaq, how's it going?
Cool. Lots of stuff going on. Busy month, April. We just talked about before the show, man. We still kicking it. Life trying to kick us in the.
Yeah.
But we kicking it. We still kicking it high stride. We out here doing good, man.
Hey, that's what we can all do these days, everyone. So, guys, before we get started into all the sports discussion and such, first I wanted to say again a very, very, very happy belated birthday to my favorite little girl out there. That is Skylar Barnes. So, Shaq, please pass along my happy birthday wishes again, because the princess deserves it.
I got you. It's not a problem.
And also, everyone, before we got started, I have a big announcement to make.
What you got? Don't tell me you got a kid on the way.
No.
Okay, thank God. Okay, thank you. You just scared me for a second. Kevin, you got to chill, man. You just scared me now. You just scared me now. Oh, wait, who? What? When? House? Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, but now what happened?
Allow me. Your boy is getting his own place.
Mm-hmm.
Your boy is getting his own apartment.
Like grown up things. That's what I like to see. Yeah. Grown up things. Yeah. This is what we like to see.
So guys, in a couple months, I will not be able to say that I'm coming to you live from a room in my parents' house, because soon it will be my own place. And when I say, guys, my own, I mean no roommates, nothing, like me, myself, and I. And I could not be more excited.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Shaq. I appreciate that. So now, with all that being said, guys, we are finally going to get into some of the things that, most of you probably actually came here for, to see us talk about various things in the sports world and sports-related world. So before we do that, obviously, in the last couple days, the hot topic of basically all of America has been the aftermath of the Derek Chauvin. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that name right. And to be honest, we don't care, because I always mispronounce everybody's name anyway. And so, for those of you who have lived under a rock for the last year, Derek Chauvin was one of the 4 police officers that was involved in the apprehension and then subsequent death of one George Floyd a little less than a year ago. He was charged with 3 criminal offenses. I know I'm trying to actually find out which ones they actually are, because especially since this is, actually something very significant. I do not want to give people wrong information. I know one of them was was involved in second degree murder. I can't remember exactly what. Oh, here we are. Second degree unintentional murder, third degree murder, and second degree manslaughter.
Jesus.
He was there, and for those of you who don't know, Derek Chauvin was a former Minnesota police officer. He was found guilty on, what was that, Tuesday? That was Tuesday, right?
Tuesday was one of these days.
Yeah, Tuesday he was found guilty on all 3 counts by a jury, which I'll be honest, I was actually genuinely a little bit shocked. Mostly because since it took us this long, Shaq, to get to this point, I really would not have been surprised if they tried to pull something and he was going to be able to get off of one or two of the charges. With that being said, though, honestly, I don't see how that could have happened, mostly because he was on camera essentially making sure that George Floyd could not breathe through his airway. So, I mean, that was just about as damning evidence as you would ever need in just about anything. So I'm going to shut up for a little bit because Shaq, obviously, being a African-American male in America, I hope that you don't go through that exact scenario on a daily basis, but I'm sure you've encountered prejudice and racism for the majority of your life, unfortunately, as it may be. So I kind of wanted to open up the floor to you to start with. And so I kind of wanted to get your thoughts as to what were your thoughts going into the trial? What was your initial reaction when the convictions were first read, and what do you think is going to be the result of this after he has his sentencing hearing in June? What do you think is going to happen going forward in the United States?
I feel like they didn't have a choice, because it was to a point where everybody was waiting on the trial, and it was going to be riots, and it was going to be something different. And that's something we don't need, because it'll be more lives lost over one man mistake that he's supposed to handle his job a certain way. He didn't do his job. It's to serve and protect. I've been close to situations like that. Like I said, the police pulled a gun on me. I wouldn't necessarily say it was after me. I would just say I want to say the wrong place, wrong time, or it was just I went to where my father grew up at, went to see some of my family members. Next thing you know, we got out the car and guns in my face. So, I've been in close to situations like that. So we trying to figure out what the hell was going on. But, maybe it was looking for somebody else, and they had the same exact car as like my cousin, who car we was in. But that's hearsay here or there. Who cares? But yeah. So with me, it was just like I was happy to see it. So maybe, hopefully, this is a chance to maybe get changed. But this is not. This is just the first step. This is not the only thing else that can be done for the situation.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Like I said, when I first saw the convictions, I was not surprised, but at the same time, I was, just because of how these things have tended to go over the course of our country's history. With that being said, I think that, now, Shaq, I want everybody to know this, as Shaq said, this is not over yet. So he has been convicted. That means that in a couple months, I believe it's like early to mid-June, he will have to go back and he will have his sentencing hearing. Now, that is where I am interested to see what actually happens, because Shaq, I was doing some research on this. If Mr. Chauvin gets convicted with the maximum sentence of all three charges, that is 75 years in prison. 75 years. Now, regardless of whether he gets 5 years, 20 years, 50 years, Shaq, I'm just going to throw it out there to everybody. There's no way this man is going to be put in general populace. There's absolutely no chance. They're going to they have to put him in solitary, because if he goes to gen pop, he won't last a week.
No, he won't.
He'll turn up dead within a week.
And that's the crazy part about it is you're 100% right. And also, we have to look at things because down, like I said, it's like the first step. We got to see how long would he be sentenced. And then he's an officer anyway, so I doubt they will put him in. They're going to put him in protected, because he might end up going to a good jail. I'm not going to even lie to you. They probably put him in a jail that don't even seem like a jail. But for us as a people, we have to. Now, I don't want to necessarily, because I've been in a couple different discussions about maybe we should learn how to police our own neighborhoods, or I feel like this wouldn't have a problem. We wouldn't have these type of problems if you stop assigning. And I'm not going to say, certain people who shouldn't want to be a police officer, it's a job. At the end of the day, you got to pay your bills, eat your family. but they need to stop putting police officers where they're not comfortable with. If you know, if a guy grew up in Naperville, why you never been around it, why would you put him in the middle of the south side of Chicago where it's most dangerous? He's not comfortable.
Well, and Shaq, that's part of the issue right there. I mean, especially in a place like Chicago that is and Chicagoland area that is so ethnically diverse that I mean, the African American community aside, Shaq, I mean, Chicago has the largest Polish population outside of Poland itself. I mean, there's Ukrainian Village, there's Greek Town, there's Chinatown, there's Little Italy. There's the south side. There's the west side. There's the north side. And obviously, I'm missing a ton of the towns and little areas that are in Chicago, but those are just the ones that I can think of immediately. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree that first things first is you need to put police officers in areas where they're familiar with, regardless of whether, because Shaq, let's just take hypothetical scenario. Let's say, what part of Chicago did you grow up in?
West side.
Okay, so you grew up on the west side. Now, let's take it that you're back on the west side now. Are you going to respond better to someone who, to be honest, you've never seen them before in your life when they're a police officer, or you're probably going to respond better to someone who you might not know them personally, but you know they're from the neighborhood, they've been around the block, you know people who know them.
Yep.
So that in my opinion, like you're absolutely right. That's a big thing right there. Secondly, what I would think helps, and Chicago, believe it or not, is actually one of the few places that does do this. If you're going to be a police officer, you have to go get a bachelor's degree. There is no ifs, there is no ands, there's no buts, there's no exceptions, there's no grandfather rules, there's no nothing. You do not get an exception because college, Shaq, I know you didn't finish at Chicago State, but you went to college for what, 2 years, 3 years?
2-3 years ago.
College forces you to interact with people and puts you in situations that you might not be comfortable in. It forces you to do that.
I don't think like that's what you train for as opposed to handle situations that you're uncomfortable in. That's why they never understand that.
And I mean, in criminal justice courses, you have to take basic level psychology classes, sociology classes, the classes that are going to help you start to understand or try to understand why certain people react certain ways to certain tendencies and situations. There's no reason why this should not be a national thing. So, Shaq, that's why, honestly, when I see President Biden wanting to do a national gun mandate and that, I honestly kind of laugh at it because taking away guns trying to take away guns isn't going to stop violence. Because believe it or not, as dumb as it sounds, a gun is, in the end of the day, Shaq, it's a tool. A gun is a tool. You can use it for however you want. It's the same as a car, a knife, a stick, anything. It's a tool. The purpose of a gun comes down to the person using it. So instead of trying to take guns away from people, why don't you mandate it that those who want to be in law enforcement, you have to have a bachelor's degree? Because if you do that, it's going to get rid of a lot of people and a lot of underqualified people quick, fast, and in a hurry. Oh, I think we might have lost Shaq. All right, so while Shaq is figuring out his issues, so guys, I just wanted to expand a little bit further on that before we get back Shaq, and then we can get back into there he is.
It was lag. I was lagging like crazy. I was trying to share the video out, but it just won't let me do two things at once. But okay, go ahead. Let's finish. It was like going crazy. He was like, get And I knew it was my screen. That's why I was turning my camera on and off. I'm like, bruh, I know it's my side. But go ahead, finish.
But yeah, so I mean, Shaq, like I said, the big thing was it's get a bachelor's degree because it's going to get rid of a lot of underqualified people that want to join law enforcement, just so that way they can have a badge, have authority, and walk around waving a gun.
Or was it Kevin?
So the other,
okay, there you go.
The only other thing that I'll say about it, Shaq, and everybody else, obviously tell me if I'm wrong or not, is they have one person who's convicted now. I want to see something happen to the other three, because what happened is not acceptable. 2-3 weeks ago, when that video came out of that active military service member getting pepper sprayed and beaten with a police baton by a police officer who honestly was acting so unreasonably for no apparent reason at all. His partner, you could see on the body cam footage, his partner, by his facial expressions, you could tell he knew what was going on was wrong, and yet he chose to do nothing. He chose to do nothing. If you choose to do nothing, you are just as guilty, if not more guilty, than the person committing the action, in my opinion. Guys, it's unacceptable in my mind. It is unacceptable in my mind. I really do not understand why. I just don't. I don't get it.
Stop kicking me, Jesus. Hey, yeah. Oh my God, my wife has for me. Okay. Yes, I 100% agree. Because I had my phone up, so I was hearing what you're saying too. Because they keep kicking me out. But yeah. Now this situation, like you said, you're just as wrong if you're seeing something that's going wrong and you don't say anything at all. As an officer, at the end of the day, you got to make sure you handle and control the situation. Yeah, you got to tell them, boom, what are you doing? You're wrong. Get off of them. Check them. That's your job, because now you could avoid this situation. Could have been avoided. It just took 2 seconds for you to just be like, "Hey, man, no, you're hurting the guy. Get off of him." No, he had the knee on his neck, choked him to death. That.
And it's unacceptable how honestly, Shaq, some people have actually defended this man. Like, I don't understand it. Oh, but also on the bright side of people getting checked, I saw this morning when I was at the gym that a police officer in Virginia was dismissed from his police force for donating money to the Kyle Rittenhouse GoFundMe page to raise money for the kid's bail. So love to see that. Love to see that.
Which is crazy, because at the end of the day, and this is not a black person who got shot. It was a white man that got shot, as I recall. You let a guy walk around with an AK. Oh, not an AK. What was it, like an M14?
AR-15.
AR-15. First of all, why is a person just walking around like that? Like he's in the middle of a war. That's first of all. Then you letting him walk right past you because you're letting. I get it. It's a riot going on. Everybody crazy. You want as much help as you can get. But for a teenager, for a teenager with a gun walking around, that's not the type of help you need. He should not have no type of authority or power. Y'all let that happen. That's 100% on the officer's fault for letting that happen. You let a guy walk with an assault rifle past you
down the street, down a public street.
Yes, and he drove from. Because people don't know he's from Illinois. He drove from Illinois to Minnesota.
No, come on, man. He drove from Antioch to Kenosha, Wisconsin, but close enough, I suppose.
Close enough, yeah. But that's the whole point. Nobody's being held accountable. That's the problem. We need to have the people got to be starting held accountable. Like, okay, look, I appreciate that you're trying to help us out, guy. We appreciate we can take any help we get, but you're out here with a gun that's not going to help us make the situation worse. So no, we don't need your help like that. If you want to help us, you got to at least put the gun up or something. and try to calm everybody down. That's perfectly fine. I get it. It's a riot. The city's going fucking bananas. But I'm not going to ask no kid with an assault rifle to help me do my job because things like this happen.
Shaq, honestly, to me, if it's not an off-duty police officer that has their badge and identifies themselves as such, I'm considering, at least, again, I can sit here all I want and say I would identify them as a threat if they don't identify themselves as an officer and flash a badge. I don't know how it would be like come that situation because I've never been in one, and God only knows. I hope I never end up being in said situation. But the fact of the matter is that if you're a police officer and you see some person wandering around with a military-grade weapon in the middle of a public street, how are you not going to question who they are and what the hell they're doing there?
Exactly. That's my point too. Did nobody stop and ask this dude, "Who are you?" Because I know he ain't last say he was like an officer or something because he got to show some identification.
Yep. So guys, and Shaq, I want to get your opinion on this because I think as far as of yesterday, it was still up there. After the ruling came down in the Chauvin trial, the Las Vegas Raiders posted on the team's Twitter page. Now, mind you, everybody, this is a professional football organization. And they posted an all blacked out picture that said, and I quote, "We can breathe again." Now, one of the first people I saw jump on this at Shaq was LeBron.
Of course. Salute
I
LeBron.
understand. I think I get the intent behind it. I don't think there was malicious intent behind it. But oh my God, was this not the worst possible execution they could have had? I mean, that's the worst play call that John Gruden has had all year.
This the ball right here. This the ball. They dropped it. They dropped the ball on this. First of all, you try to do it for 420, I guess. First of all, the words of Stephen A. And you're a professional. Stay off the weed. Because if players are off the weed, they will either get cut or suspended as weed drug. So you can't use 420 as an excuse because everybody on the Raiders better get a pass to smoke weed. But we know that's not the case. Oh, okay. So now you're trying to say you're going to use it for the trial because you didn't think about that. It was 420 on it. You didn't think about
I didn't think about that.
Can't use that as a cop.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't think about that part.
Yep. Yeah. Then, as I say, can't use that because nobody in the NFL can't be smoking weed. I think it's a drug policy against that. Then also, why would you use them words at this point in time saying, "I can breathe again"? Now it goes off of saying this because you obviously is the white man owns the team. Oh, I can breathe. We're safe now. You know, it's situations of I can breathe again. No, that was bad use of words, bad use of timing. It had Raiders written all over it.
Yeah,
it had Oakland Raiders written all. It just had Raiders written all over it. I'm sorry. That was probably one of the. Oh my God, I can't really. I seen that. I was gonna respond. I was just like, you know what? I'm not trying to look at how stupid they were to do this, and it was so bad that the owner had to take blame for it. You couldn't even deny and just say, "Oh yeah, the market guy made a mistake." No, when it's something of this magnitude, you have to take that L, and he took that L.
Like I said, Shaq, I think I understood the intended intent behind it.
Drop the ball.
But my God, was it like
drop the ball
like that?
I don't know. I don't know how you can miss that bad. Like I don't understand. Like what was your mindset before even posting it to think about it? I know the thing too, Shaq, is like that's one of those things where I mean that was done within less than like 6 hours after the announcements after the results of the trial came out.
Like, that is one of those things where if you're part of the social media team for the Raiders, that's something you have to talk to the entire department, probably plus the rest of the heads of all the parts of the organization on, to make sure everybody is on the same page when it comes to you posting something like that. Like, that's something where you have to make sure the entire organization, from the ownership all the way down to the ball boy, is on the same page.
Yep. When it comes to something like this, and then I don't even believe, did they write something with it? Because I just seen the picture of it. I didn't even read. Did they write anything? I don't think so. With it? So you couldn't even try to save yourself by explaining what you mean. Because you could have wrote a nice little paragraph saying what you mean. And then they're like, okay, maybe we can understand what you're coming from. But to just post it and you just leave it for the naked eye to decipher anything they want out of it. Come on, man. So, this is social media era, man. They kill you for anything.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. All right, guys. So let us know what you guys think. Is there anything else that you think can be done, or what your guys' suggestions are to help try to make this any better? I mean, honestly, I have no idea if we're going to be able to do any of those or not, because obviously it's not my job to know.
No.
Anyway, now on to the actual sports stuffs. So, guys, we're going to start with the NBA. I mean, that's where we're going to have the bulk of our time right now. I would say, Shaq, I actually kind of want us to start in the Western Conference this time, because the West, it's interesting. And so, I mean, in terms of the top couple seeds, really nothing has changed all that much as of right now. The Jazz are still in front by a game and a half. I mean, Shaq, they've had a solid season this year. Again, I love the addition that Mike Conley's done for this team. I think he's especially going to be crucial come playoff time. He gives you some quality minutes off the bench. But again, look who's at number 2 right now, Shaq.
Phoenix Suns, right?
So is there still anybody out there, Shaq, that is going to try to tell you that Chris Paul is not an all-time great point guard?
I'm at this point, I feel like the Chris Paul disrespect, it shouldn't even be a question. Like, you shouldn't even be disrespecting Chris Paul at all. Like, one of the greatest point guards we've ever seen. Everywhere he goes, he wins. The team wins. He makes the team better. Like, they play better. They win. But Phoenix was barely in the playoff talk out. Or it was out the playoff talk if you count the play in it. It was in it, but it wasn't a play in at that point in time. So, yeah. Now you go from around the 10 seed range to number 2. That tell you the difference that Chris Paul makes, man.
I mean, yeah, guys, and it's not like it's just Chris Paul either. I mean, Shaq, I think that they honestly have a lot better roster than I think a lot of people give them credit for. Mikal Bridges is having a really nice season. I mean, in their last game against Philadelphia, he put up 18 points, 4 boards in 37 minutes. DeAndre Ayton, I think, has started to develop a little bit more all-around game, because I've actually noticed him playing something that somewhat resembles NBA caliber defense. So that's pretty exciting. Devin Booker is Devin Booker.
Being Booker,
Jay Crowder, again, I think is a very nice veteran presence, a good wing defender. Nice compliment in the veteran presence department alongside Chris Paul. Cameron Johnson off the bench, I think he's developing into a very, very nice young player. Dario Saric has been there. I mean, Dario Saric has been in the league, it seems like forever. I swear to God, I remember playing with him back in 2K12. So I swear to God, he's been in there forever. And Jack,
realistically speaking. No, go. Nope. Matter of fact, nope. I'm not going to let you do it. Nope, I'm not letting you do it. Realistically speaking, see, I knew I was going to cut you off for a reason. Don't even say it. Realistically speaking, I don't even want to hear his name. Don't ruin my day. Don't bring him up. He not even on this team. Don't bring that man up. You not finna bring me the pain with the person you trying to bring up. No pun intended. Realistically speaking, how far can this team go?
I could see them getting to the second round. Second round. No. Because Shaq, I'll be honest, I don't think the Phoenix Suns play good enough team defense to make it to the Western Conference Finals. And even if they somehow did, that is where their charge would come to an end.
Yeah.
I think that this team is but I will tell you this, Shaq, this is a team that nobody wants to face in the first round. That is a team that nobody, I think, wants to play in the first round. Speaking of a team that nobody wants to play, you realize those boys in LA have only lost one game in their last 10 games, right, Shaq?
The Clippers, right?
They have not lost a game since they acquired Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, that's the difference. Look, man. I'm
telling y'all, I keep telling you, Shaq and I both said it, and people still don't believe me. Kids these days do not understand what type of beast playoff Rondo is.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, they didn't see prime Rondo with the Boston Celtics when he was putting up numbers. Like, if you don't understand the game of basketball, you can still see his impact on the floor. But the Clippers look great because they finally got a leader now. You could tell. They got a leader now. Rondo is the leader of that team. And I forgot. I didn't even know, and it's bad on my part, I didn't know they had Boogie.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was like,
Boogie in their last game against Memphis came off the bench, got 6 points, 10 rebounds in just 14 minutes. So, hey, Boogie was putting in some nice work coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, Shaq? I actually very low-key really like that role for him because then what you can do then is that if you have Rondo, because then if you have Rondo and then you have Boogie out there at the same time, but he's off the bench, then all you got to do is just give DeMarcus Cousins the ball. You don't have to worry about anybody else getting touches. You don't have to worry about anybody doing anything else. Just dump it down to DeMarcus and let him go to work.
Yep. I'm definitely. Yeah, that's all you got to do. Now it's like you get him an option where you got somebody who can run the offense where now you can get Kawhi and PG off the ball, get them in different sets where they can get open. Then also you got Boogie, who's a big man presence, which would be great against them before the Lakers because, the Lakers got a lot of great big men. You got an inside option. Boogie can also give you a quick 10-7, 15-7 in the playoffs. Be a great option. So I hope we get the Clippers versus Lakers matchup. Might happen in the first round if the Lakers don't move up. We could get them in a 4-5 maybe. Because I doubt the Jazz or the Phoenix Suns are dropping. They're playing too good. The Lakers are too injured. I see Clippers coming up. The Denver Nuggets, they have been playing good. But without Jamal Murray, I don't know. Even though they 4-0 without Jamal Murray, but he's still a difference maker for that team. So we can see. I definitely want to see the Lakers versus Clippers in the playoffs, man. I need to see that. We need, as fans, we need to get rewarded with the matchups that we want to see in the playoffs. As fans of the game.
So I mean, Clippers. I mean, they're definitely going to be a team to watch out for. It's the fact that they're this dangerous and Paul George and Kawhi aren't even playing every night. That says something. So then moving right along in the Western Conference, I mean, they're sitting at the 3 seed right now. The Nuggets have actually started to get the rack back together, Shaq. They're sitting at the 4 seed. Again, Joker, I definitely think deserves to be in that MVP conversation because, I mean, that there's nothing that this guy seriously can't do. He can run the floor. He's your point center. I mean, the last game against the Blazers, 25, 9, and 5. So he's built different, guys. He is built different. And Shaq, how big of a loss is the one that the Nuggets have just had with not Gary Harris,
Aaron Gordon,
Jamal Murray, with Jamal Murray being hurt.
Yeah, towards ACL. Sad. It's tough. That's one thing we hate about the game. Players getting hurt, man.
Yeah.